Yeah. I have no snare on my headphones. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to January 15th, 7 minutes in Evan. We are 7 minutes in need of a siesta, Evan. You know, that's how I know I'm old as shit, is I just stay out late one night and I'm fucking done. I just fucking cancel my plans for the day, Tabitha, you know. I need to refuel, take a mental health day. I still worked all morning, but I didn't do any of my extra shit. I didn't go to the gym. I didn't, I did the bare minimum. I got through it, handled some emails, did some editing. I did just the bare bones, you know. I didn't, this wasn't a banner day for the company, if you will. I went last night with, I sound like the guy from the original The Office, whatever that movie was. Yeah, if you could just stay. If you just heard my dog snore in the background. Highly unprofessional Beowulf. I swear, shit's ridiculous. But I went last night to the Comedy Store to buy some giggles. It was a fire lineup. Mr. Tony Baker. Ferris Fortuna, I think her name is. She's a legendary comedian. She's been around for a long time, but her first name slips me. But she was hilarious, and so it was Tony Baker, her, Joe Rogan, Joey Diaz, Eddie Bravo on Comedy Chaos with Sam Tripoli. Comedy bars, just dropping bars. My jiu-jitsu instructor, Mr. Scott Ross, he invited me to see it because he knows I'm involved in the comedy world, and it was quite a night there. I've seen Joe Rogan perform before, and he's hilarious. And Joey Diaz has been on my bucket list to see live because I've seen his stuff online and his specials. And what was it, like Zizo or some shit? It was some shit that went away that was doing specials for a while. But legendary performance by Joey Diaz. It was more of church. Like, now I get it. The church of what's happening now. There's a hypnotizing that happens with the Joey Diaz set. The lights came down for the headliner spotlight. Preaching. Just fucking holding church for everybody. Dropping knowledge. Just truth. Same thing with Joe Rogan. His set was like... he becomes like an elder of the state kind of thing, where they're just holding court and telling you what time it is, you know. That's one thing I liked about Dave Chappelle's special, is you need someone who's so far high up in it to really drop knowledge and to be like, nah, we're getting a little silly, okay? We're getting a little silly. I think Dave Chappelle was the most important person that could have done that. And I'll be honest, some people came to me with Dave Chappelle's special, and they were like, it's terrible. And I'm like, bitch, we weren't watching the same special. We couldn't have been. Shit was magic. Dave Chappelle might be my number one. Yeah, just in the sense of, I've heard about the legendary sets that he's had at the Comedy Store. We'll do these 3-4 hour sets, and it's just a fucking roller coaster. Be profound, take you on these rides. There'll be some jokes in there, but then he'll start making a lot of sense, and there'll be huge highs, and then we drop back down. You know, we're just talking, and we bring it back up again. He's the number one person that I watch, where I'm like, God damn, his level of comfort in his own skin is something I strive for. Not that I when I'm on stage, I don't feel confident, and, you know, but there's a next level of that shit, you know, because I'm still not completely comfortable and confident on stage. Like, you know, there's certain things that happen that you're just, it's not 100% guaranteed. But Dave Chappelle has that thing where he's like, he even said in a special, he's like, I've been doing this shit so long, I'll be backstage and be like, this is probably going to go well, you know. That's what I strive for. That's some next level shit. But back to the Comedy Store. I I was very impressed with Eddie Bravo's stand-up. I was. Not that I thought it was going to be bad, because I've hung out with him before, and very funny in group setting. And I hear he's like that. I've actually never trained at HQ with him, 10th Planet HQ in LA. But I've always heard that he's always just joking. And my sister has a long-standing friendship with him, and she's always said he was hilarious. And those people that can do that, they can usually do stand-up. And what he did translated. If you take that person who's good at a good teacher, they can do well, like with public speaking. You put a little bit of writing into that. It's good. He had some very funny premises. Beowulf, people can hear you licking that right now. Oh, that is filthy, dog. Yo, my dog was licking her stuff earlier. I leaned down, let her lick my face, not even realizing what was happening. I had just woke up. I was so out of it. I digress. But, yeah, Eddie Bravo's stand-up was really funny. I thoroughly impressed. The best one to me that night was Joe Rogan. His observational stuff, the confidence he has with it, and in no disrespectful way, the simplicity of it, where it's fine-tuned down to the most simple way to digest a sentence. Sometimes you hear people when they're just trying to talk to you, like you'll get some crazy philosophy major or someone that just wants to use big words, and you're just like, bro, you're churning a 2-page paper into a 5-page essay. And just when you got to go talk English to me. And some of those people, they thrive on that. They want you to look confused and look at them like, oh, wow, you're a scholar, aren't you? Nah, bitch, just talk straight to me. Bars, Joe Rogan did that. It was very, had mass appeal, if you will. I think that's the goal with comedy. And that's something to me watching. I watch sets at the Comedy Store like a goddamn scholar. I just sit there like a student, and I'm just like this. Sometimes I wonder, I forget to laugh because I'm watching for a reason, and I'm watching it to be like, okay, what's this? Like I'm paying attention. I'm not following the magic trick. I'm following the setups, I'm looking at the body language, the inflections, the change. Where's he holding the microphone? Is he leaning in? When's he taking his breath? When's he stopping? When is he looking around? How long of a pause in between setups and punchlines and misdirections and the next joke? How are we going to let this settle? I love it. I love stand-up comedy. Even if I didn't do it, and even before I did it, I've been obsessed with it for years. The process of it has always infatuated me. Big word, bars. It really has always fascinated me. I think in a lot of ways, and this was something my jiu-jitsu instructor was telling me last night, who had a career in stand-up. He was talking to Joey Diaz backstage. Went backstage, no big deal. Joey Diaz, who does jiu-jitsu as well, was saying jiu-jitsu is the equivalent of stand-up, training for it, and how you are on stage. If a joke doesn't work, you reset, you go back to guard. If a submission doesn't work, you lose something, boom, go back to guard. It's not a big deal. Just go back, reset, start the process over again. What happens when things go wrong in stand-up and jiu-jitsu is when people panic. When you go for something, you lose position. Oh, shit, you go into a panic, boom, they got your back. Same thing on stage. You fumble through a word, you mess this up, you forget the next line, you go into panic mode, they take your back. That crowd takes your back and they're going to fuck you. Not usually, though. That's the good thing about stand-up, and that's something that I've learned, is acknowledging when jokes go wrong or they don't work or you forgot something, is just resetting and just being like, oh, okay, acknowledging it. That was the biggest breakthrough moment for me with stand-up is being okay when things don't hit, when they don't land. And when they don't, you just go, All right. Well, all right. You guys didn't like that one? Okay. I guess you guys are all into your horoscopes, huh? That really happened. Actually, last Tuesday that happened. I was working out this new horoscope bit that I got where just talking about how silly horoscopes are. And no offense if you're really into them. I don't need another fucking vegan group coming after me. But the jokes didn't work at all. And maybe it wasn't knowing the audience that well. But I just moved on. I went, oh, wow, everybody loves their horoscope, huh? And then they laughed at that because I acknowledged that they didn't laugh at the joke. We moved on. We all stayed on board. But if I just kept trying to shove it down their throat, get it all in their gullet, it would have just got worse and worse. I would have felt awkward. They would have felt awkward. But nah, I acknowledged it. That's another thing that's weird is when people don't acknowledge dishes breaking or hecklers. You got to acknowledge everything that's in the room, everything that's happening. I get not acknowledging, cars driving by and things, but, and I could be wrong. Maybe you have a different style. But for me, I like acknowledging it and let's move on. Because I'll be watching people, a bottle breaks or something, I hear it fall. They don't acknowledge it. I'm like, oh, really? That didn't just happen? Okay. All right, Scooby-Doo, keep doing your thing. But I do see a lot of correlations between jiu-jitsu and stand-up. That I think I touched on this in the first episode where I was saying that, no, I was talking about that I do things that are accountability, that require accountability. But the reason that I love jiu-jitsu and stand-up is past a certain point, you can't fake it. You see jiu-jitsu people, these fake black belts, and people who literally don't train but like to pretend that they do. There's always people walking around in bars, and there's like, no, dude, I've dealt with this my entire life. People walk around, they're like, bro, I'm a beast. I'm a fucking beast. Listen, I know those people in the UFC think they're tough, but bro, street fight's different. I ain't got no bell in the street. I just get a hold of you, bro. Done. I've had people look at me and they go, bro, but if we were in the street, I know you do that boxing stuff. Done. I'm like, bro, how many cartoons have you watched? Do you think you're goddamn Iron Man? Fucking Count Chocula. Grow up, The reason why I like stand-up and jiu-jitsu and martial arts in general, there's no faking it. You can say whatever you want, but there's no bullshit when you go on stage. Past a certain point, the crowds aren't going to laugh. You can get some laughs, and past a point, you're not going to be able to fake your jiu-jitsu, how tough you are on the mats. You're going to eventually get strangled. You're going to get strangled, and you're going to have to decide if your ego is ready to be built back up a healthy way. That's the biggest thing I love about jiu-jitsu, is deflating your ego back to a healthy level. Because you get humbled pretty quick in jiu-jitsu. I love it. It just, dude, I love everybody I train with. Everybody that stays, at least. Some people come in, and I'm like, you're poison. They're gone. But it's such a good group of people because everybody, we all know, we all train together. We all know everybody's tough. You step on the mat, you're tough. But you don't care. Your ego, you know that anybody can tap you out, and you're trying to help your training partners. That's the thing, is you don't try to withhold anything from your partners in jiu-jitsu, because by you trying to make them better, they're going to force you to get better. It's a beautiful thing. You catch someone in a submission, a training partner, I show them how I did it. Here's what happened. Here's what went wrong. Same thing with me. I'll get strangled, and I'll go, okay, how did you do that? Show me. And there's no ego. I don't care about tapping. It's a beautiful thing because we're all trying to make each other better. Kumbaya. I feel like that's how we should be with the world, with especially United States. We're so divided. I mean, not really. If you think about it, there was a time this whole country was at war together, We're not as divided as the news likes to make you think. But I think that's how it should be. Democrats, Republicans, working together. Where one is weak, the other is strong. Where one is strong, the other is weak. That's that balanced shit, Bars. But the Comedy Store was great. It was a great time, and that's why I'm a little tired today. I was just out late, causing a ruckus, eating comedy food, so much salt. I probably look so puffy right now. Ugh, look at me. Puffy. I look like the Michelob Man. It is what it is. I was going to go in the sauna today. Didn't make it. Was too tired. Too tired today. But I still got to go do my set tonight. And I'm very excited because this weekend, we got a huge UFC fight card. I want to talk about this. Conor, the notorious McGregor, versus Donald Cowboy Cerrone. Bars. I think it's going to be an amazing fight. I really do. It's going to be one of those fights that right before it's about to happen, where he says, "Are you ready? Are you ready?" You're like, "Oh shit, I'm not ready." I used to get way too pumped up for fights. The last fighter I got emotionally attached to, Anderson Silva. When he got knocked out, I got knocked out. When he broke his leg, I broke my leg. That shit was horrible for me. I was way too emotionally attached to Anderson Silva's career. I don't know why. But it hurt me when he lost. I saw the knockout from Chris Weidman coming before it did. It's like, Andy, you're getting a little crazy with the hands down. Okay, you did a little showboating. Now let's finish this kid. And I think really, Anderson Silva almost wanted to lose. In a weird way, I think he did. I think he didn't feel human anymore. He was doing some wild shit. Who did he fight? Stephan Bonner. And he was just going up against the cage and telling him, come back, come back. He basically was sparring. I think he just got too comfortable. And obviously, time catches up to every athlete. There'll be a point Mayweather loses if he sticks around. Time is a motherfucker. They'll beat everyone, you know? No one's losing to that. You can try to hold on. Doesn't matter. You got to let go of some things. You got to know when the dance is over. Know when it's time to close up shop. Open up shop. Oh, Rough Riders, let's roll. Yeah. But Anderson Silva, it wrecked me. I remember laying in bed having to be consoled by my girl. And she was like, it's okay, he'll be back. And I was like, will he though? Will he be back? You don't know that. Fucking wrecked me. And I remember laying in bed, not being able to sleep. And I was just like, dude, you can't get attached to another man like this. No homo, you know? Ugh, no homo. That's so 2016. Sorry. Yo, that was one thing about Joey Diaz's stand-up. He gave zero fucks what culture we're living in. He kept that shit real. He gave zero fucks. And I liked it. But I think Conor McGregor, Cowboy Cerrone is going to be a great fight. My prediction, pain. I think Conor McGregor starches him. I really do. I'm looking at, it could be a first round. Second round. I don't see it going past the third. I think Conor catches him. I mean, especially if Cowboy just wants to stand with him. I don't think standing with him is Cowboy's best option, but I think he's going to do it. I really do. He had a tweet or something he said where he says, I'm going to give the fans what they want. And I was like, maybe give what your career wants. I always find that fascinating. It's like, that's why one thing I was always, despite what Mayweather was outside of the ring, what he did within the ring was fucking beautiful. defensively. Like, that's the thing. You go into a fight, it's all about, at the end of the day, doing the most damage you possibly can with taking the least amount. That's how you have the greatest career in fighting. Mayweather has had the greatest career in fighting, period. Financially, everything, period. No one's done it better. Maybe there's some scattered old fighters through there, but I don't think anybody commercially, yeah. And it all was, he got zero attention until he became Pretty Boy Floyd, or Money Mayweather. He used to be Pretty Boy Floyd. He was a very humble, quiet guy. He was like, I need to change this shit up. I got all the skills, making none of the loot. He was fighting on undercards and shit. Switched his whole style, brought the WWF into that shit. Same thing with Conor. But back to this fight, I think Donald Cerrone, if he tried to grapple more, I think he's always amazing on the ground. I think he definitely has that on Conor, but I don't think he's going to do it. I think he's getting caught up in it. I think he wants that fight, and it's not going to pan out for him, I don't think. I really don't. I think Conor knocks him out. I think he catches him with the left and finishes him. And it's going to be Conor Khabib. And I don't know how this fight's going to go. If they have a rematch, just from what you hear around the water hole, I hear whispers that Conor wasn't training for that fight, had an injury, wasn't taking it too serious, being a wild man. And if that's true, which I thought he kind of fought weird, but I don't know how someone with that high of a fight IQ, make no mistake, he is a showsman, but he has an insane fight IQ. His space, his timing, knowing range, it's being so calm in the firefight. Such a high IQ. I don't know how you could possibly overlook Khabib, looking at what Conor's strengths are and what Khabib's are. Because on paper, Khabib looks like a nightmare for Conor. And it kind of played out that way. Even the whole Khabib catching Conor was kind of crazy. But that's what happens when someone's afraid of the shoot. Those grapplers get pretty slick with the hands. When they're not worried about a takedown, they're like, this motherfucker's not going to take me down. And the other person who's a striker constantly has to wait for the perfect opening to not get taken down. It's a beautiful goddamn sport. So many variables. But I think with this particular fight, we're going to get a knockout by Conor McGregor. You heard it here first. Bet the fucking house on that shit. Bet it. Just bet it now. I also saw that Netflix releasing a new documentary, Aaron Hernandez, To Make a Murder, or whatever that shit was. That shit's wild. I don't know too much about the case. I know he killed someone. I know he was in jail. And didn't he suicide himself? Like, legitly? I think that's what happened. It's crazy because I'm pretty sure the documentary is pointing a lot to concussions as the reason for why he was so aggressive. That's the thing. And I seem like such a hypocrite, which is partly, I'll be honest, is partly why I do jiu-jitsu now and not boxing. Even though I fucking love punching people and getting punched. #weird. Is brain damage, concussions. It's real. If I'm not going to be going for a world title, and trust me, there's still part of that itch in me where it's like, I'd like to get in there and just fucking go for it. It's the juice has to be worth the squeeze. And you see the small percentage that make it through. But what you don't see are the people who have the concussions, who it doesn't work out for, that have the life-changing injuries. And it's a brutal fucking sport. I think, honestly, that's why fighters are I think, in my opinion, the number one, not worshipped, they're held to such a high level when you see them of respect, when you find out someone's a professional fighter. And it's because you know what they're risking. You know, you're risking so much on different levels. You're risking getting knocked out, probably the most embarrassing thing that could happen to anybody on any level in a tribe. You getting beat in battle, hand-to-hand combat. You risk getting knocked out in front of your friends, your family, the haters, the supporters, which is another level of guilt and shame if you lose, is feeling like you let people down. And on top of all that, like if you lose a basketball game, who gives a shit? Yeah, it sucks, but you lose a baseball game? I'm talking about games. Listen, if a 5-year-old can do it, you're not risking a lot. I'm sorry. T-ball, you know. I've seen the way soccer players fake their injuries. Some of those highlights are crazy. They just flop so hard. Oh, my Achilles. But I think that's why fighters are held to such a high standard of respect. Because you're like, oh, you're literally going in there and risking it all. It's pretty wild to fight another grown man in your underwear. I mean, if I was going to compete in MMA or boxing, MMA, I'll wear a Speedo for sure. Why not? Get weird. Got to mess with them psychologically. But I think the other side of it, that fighters are risking their, literally their mind, their brain, their body, and their mind. The human brain is not meant to take punches. I don't know if you knew that or not. But like, even stuff as light as like this, if you're just listening, I barely clap my hands together, can mess up your brain. Slamming on your brakes too hard and having your head hit the seat can mess up your brain. We are so fucking fragile. I watched that movie Concussion and blew my fucking mind. It made me want to put a helmet on my dog, you know? One time my dog actually headbutted me at night so she couldn't see me. She ran full blast into my head, rocked me. I was so angry that my dog rocked me. She just kept going. She didn't give a shit. She has fucking concrete in her head. That dog is meant for battle, you know? She got a little bit of pit bull mixed in her. That noggin is hard. Bars, you know? But it's crazy what fighters risk. It's crazy. And getting back to that, Aaron Hernandez. All those hits. That's what the movie Concussion's pretty much about, is all the hits that people take. It brutalized your brain, more prone to being violent, aggression, outbursts, not being able to control your emotions. I forgot what it was, your hypothalamus, your medulla oblongata. That's Waterboy. But it's all affected by physical damage. And our brain is just swishing around our head. Like literally you put a ball in a water bottle. That's all we got. That's all we got. We are not meant to take damage at all. But we're just out there fucking doing it every Sunday. Da-na-na, da-na-na, football. I never really got into football. I once tried to sign myself up for Pee Wee football when I was a kid. We never went to the meeting. I'm pretty sure they sent something in the mail. My parents were like, what the fuck kind of shit is Evan trying to get into? Throw it out. With all his hopes and dreams in his childhood. We're going to put him in the pool, make him be a swimmer. It worked out well. Part of me is happy now that I'm grown up and I don't have very many body injuries, that I was in a sport like swimming. Whew. Although jiu-jitsu is catching me up real fast. That's one trade-off I thought. I thought that I was going to be fine. No, I have pains in parts of my body that I didn't know I could have pains there, you know? Joint issues and just a lot of pain. My ankles will never be the same again. Thanks, Scott Ross. Goddamn ankle lockers. I hate y'all. Sneaky little motherfuckers. Just want to punch you in the face when you're down there. Playing with my feet. I ain't into that foot play. Weirdos. The little foot fetish, grabbing on them. I don't even respect myself when I grab an ankle lock. I grab it, boom, lock it up. I'm sorry about this. I would prefer to choke you out, but bait is bait. But I do want to watch the Aaron Hernandez movie. I don't know how we segue into this one, but we're just going to. I saw this today, that people are going insane about Vince Vaughn and Trump. That he just shook Trump's hand at a football game. Speaking of football, boom, that was my segue. God damn it, Evan, we should have cut that in. I think it's crazy that there's so many people that just can't have their own opinions and beliefs if they go against yours. Or what the whole Hollywood, like the mindset and the belief. It's no secret that Hollywood is pretty left-leaning, and that's fine. That's what people like. That's the thing. I don't give a shit what you're into or what your belief system is. I go back to my cardinal rule. You can do and be whatever the fuck you want to be, as long as you're not hurting other people. And you can start doing this 3 steps remove shit of like, well, if you're supporting so-and-so, then you are hurting all these people. I think most of the general public are insanely uneducated, and uneducated is not the right word. They don't realize, we don't have the time. Listen, and I'm including myself in this. It is impossible for someone to realize, to see all the intricacy, there's one of those philosopher words, of our political world and what effects everything has, and all the butterfly effect of every decision you make politically, socially, with your family, with your friends, whatever you do. We don't have the time and the effort to put into seeing how all those things are going to play out. We see a little headline on the news, Trump is killing Mexican babies. Some people will never even click the article. I have people send me articles all the time. I'm like, did you even read it? No. They just saw the headline. And that's what I think is dangerous. I think that's so dangerous that they know. People know that people are just looking at the headlines, the click rates and everything. A lot of times they want people to click. Why? Because there's advertising. So what do they have to do? They have to put something very bait, to entice them to click on the article. I'm sorry for coughing, but this shit, I'm just sick of it. Get it? And then when they have the stuff that's like baiting, they say something wild about anything. You won't believe what so-and-so said in their bikini. And you're like, well, I have to see what she said. And then you read the article and it's like, I said smell you later. I'm like, okay, well, that was a waste of my time. But people don't read everything. And that's the thing, is I think people have beliefs and they want to believe something so much. I think the biggest thing, and this is something that I admit I'm wrong about a lot of shit. I'm wrong about a lot of shit I said a year ago. I'm wrong about shit I could say this week to someone. I could be wrong in an argument, say something I didn't mean, and I'm just like, okay. Or once new evidence has been added, I'm like, oh, okay, well, I didn't know that. I don't really care that much. I'm emotionally attached to it, but I don't care enough to die on the sword for this thing if I'm not right, if it's not true. I think a lot of people like being on a team, so they politically go on that team, and they're just ready to die for that shit. It feels good to be included, to have your cult, your little team, and to have someone to hate. I think that's a big thing that people like. They like to be brought together with a common enemy. And they like to have a reason for why their life isn't going the way they want it to go. So you got to look for someone to blame, like a big shadow. You guys have seen the Rocky Balboa movie. You're looking for someone to blame. But I think once people realize things, once evidence comes out, like you see that a lot with these shootings, school shootings. God damn, Evan, I thought this was a goddamn comedy podcast, you son of a bitch. No one's going to book you after this. I just submitted from some colleges to do some college tours for comedy. There goes that. Got too political. But here's what I'm going to say is that I see these headlines and always this knee-jerk reaction. Guns. Blah, 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 blah. And then it's like you start looking, is guns the cause or was guns the vehicle? Oh, what's the link between all of these people? Antidepressants. Some kind of medication. Listen, a lot of you probably don't know, I went to nursing school. I did. I got in so many arguments with my pharmacology teacher because I don't believe that pills should be the fix for everything. People are unhappy. A lot of times, there is clinical depression, but a lot of times, maybe figuring out what the fuck you enjoy doing with your life and doing that. Getting out those urges. That didn't sound right. Not sexually. But getting out what you need to get out, with your life. Listen, if I don't get the opportunity to do stand-up, or if I'm sick for a week or 2 weeks and I can't go to jiu-jitsu, I'm not filming videos, I'm not doing stand-up, I'm not having all these outlets that I need as a creative person to be fulfilled, I turn into a mean person. I'm very irritated. I get closer to being that person that fucking cuts people off on the freeway and honks at them and flips them off. I don't do that, but I get closer there. And that's what I realize when I see people flipping me off and doing shit in the freeway. I'm like, I know you're going through it right now. You are not happy. All this shit's just repeating. Groundhog Day. That's what a lot of people's life is. So what do? You go to the doctor. I don't know. I just feel not happy with my life right now. I'm having these urges. I just have no energy. Why? My little voice in my head is like, because you're not inspired to do anything. But the doctor who's getting paid by these companies to push the pills is like, oh, do you also feel tired, lethargic? Don't feel like going to the gym? I do feel that way, doc. Wow, I do. Sexually, are you not as excited? Well, that's pretty personal, doc, but yeah, I haven't really been howling at the moon lately. I got just the thing for you. Bing! Flips him a little pill. Problem fixed, huh? No, because you know what pills do? They bring you to that middle state where you're just like, wah, 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 and you're just existing. You're just existing. I had a run-in with antidepressants. I had this crazy thing. This is why I don't even want to admit this on a podcast. I'm gluten-free. Oh, it feels so good to come out. I've been gluten-free for a while now. It's been a couple of years. And this is who I am, so you need to accept me. I need a gluten-free pride parade, okay? Because I'm here, no bread near, and I'm here to stay. The LGBTQT GF. Ding! Plus. Can't forget the plus. But I had this issue where I got this rash. I broke out in a rash all over my body. Just allergic reactions all on my elbows, my face, my back, my stomach. It was burning. My head burnt. Took some Benadryl. It went away. But I still was burning the rest of the day. It kept happening every day after that. I thought I was allergic to everything. Fabric softener, foods, all this stuff. Couldn't figure it out. The doctors were doing blood tests on me, everything. And they could see that my hemoglobin H or G, which is your histamine, was super elevated. So I was definitely having an allergic reaction to something. We just didn't know what it was. They finally, to help, because this went on for almost a year, I was dealing with this shit. Going to fucking acupuncture. I did everything. I saw a voodoo doctor who like fucking tried telling me I was allergic to metal and that I couldn't touch door handles anymore. What? Huh? Okay, Count Chocula, grow up. But I remember, oh shit, I gotta leave soon. I remember, I totally lost my train of thought because I gotta leave soon. Oh, here's what it was. They finally wanted me, and I fell into the hole. They wanted to give me something for the symptoms. And I forget the name of it, but it's a primary reason for use is antihistamine on like a long-term process. It wasn't for an acute thing. It was going to be a chronic symptom helper, outer. I went to nursing school. Can you tell? I start taking it. Its B primary, or its secondary, was antidepressant. I did not, this was unbeknownst to me at the time, because on all the stuff they gave me about it, it only said what I was getting it for. You know, all the side effects, everything was only for what I was taking it for. I had to go on the internet and Google it after taking it for a couple weeks and feeling depressed. I can legit say I've had depressing moments in my life where I went through periods. I think it's normal that you're not always happy. I think you go through hard stuff and you have to adapt and overcome. And that sunshine feels so much better when you've been through those hard days. We're human. We don't live in fantasy land. There's hard times in our lives. But this is a time in my life, I can honestly say I was depressed with no way out, where I felt like I don't know how to fix this because I don't know what the cause is. You know, other times in my life, I've been able to pinpoint it, where I go, okay, I'm going through this hardship because of this loss, or because of this, because I'm not really doing this. We need to fix this problem. We need to adapt and overcome. But at this point, nothing made sense. It was invisible. And I remember it because it was Christmas Day. And I was driving back from a Christmas party, and I was sitting in the back seat. It was just like a fucking movie. And I'm looking out the window, and I'm just looking at trees as we're driving by. And I remember just being like, I'm not happy, and I don't know what's wrong with me. I can't turn this around. I felt like that for a couple weeks. And then I started looking at things I was doing, because I was like, this is something. I looked at that medication, started looking at it, and I found out it was used to treat depression. And then I started looking at the side effects. Top side effect, suicidal thoughts. Huh? What was the next one? Suicidal actions. So not only could this make you feel suicidal, you could act on that suicidal feeling. So that means there was enough people that took this medication and they actually acted upon it. Enough to where they legally were obligated to correlate this medication to suicide. That's an insane number, because that means there was enough where they couldn't fight the evidence. And you know how fucking big pharma, big business. You got me all tongue twisted, all right? I stopped taking that medication. The feelings went away. I was happy as a bird again. But what I ended up doing was I had to go down the rabbit hole of trying to find my own cure, because the doctors couldn't figure it out. I never actually really pinpointed what exactly it was. But what stopped it? Gluten. I cut out all gluten out of my diet. And at the time, I even cut out dairy. But I brought dairy back for its probiotic benefits. I love me some Greek yogurt. Bars. But I've been gluten-free for like 3 or 4 years now. And I miss it, you know, sometimes. Like some good-ass garlic bread. Oh. A good-ass pizza. A good hamburger bun. I know some spots with some good gluten-free hamburger buns, but there's nothing like it. That French bread that you can pick up in the deli. Oh, so delicious. I miss that. But I never like telling people about it, because they just look at you. Especially living in California. Really painted a stereotype of myself. I went off on such a tangent that I didn't even talk about Vince Vaughn shaking hands with Trump. I don't think it's that big of a deal. Listen, this is how we'll end this thing. I think kumbaya. If you really respect freedom and you respect, you want equality and you want everybody to have the freedom of speech and to be who you are in this country, this beautiful country, despite what you think it is, despite how corrupt big business is, despite how corrupt politics is, the core values of this country, the home of the brave, the land of the free, that's what we represent. You can be who you are in this country. And some people just went too far with that shit. Some people out there identifying as zebras and shit. But you know what? That's okay with me. That's okay. You want to identify as a lion? Hey, that's okay. As long as you don't eat other people, I'm good with it. You know how silly it is to not like a celebrity? I saw people tweeting, I'm never going to watch another one of his movies again because he shook someone's hand. Do you realize before all of this that Donald Trump was like a liberal, and he all through Hollywood, he literally was a TV star. You don't think all these people are friends with him that just don't come out publicly and say it? It's silly. It's silly. And I'm not defending the guy. Trump, I don't want you to think I shook his hand. I wouldn't give a shit. I'll shake anybody's hand. I don't give a shit. I mean, not anybody's, but I just think there's such a weird culture of going after people and canceling them. This whole fucking cancer culture. Cancel. I think I said cancer. It's a cancerous culture that likes to cancel cultures. Bars. That's the weirdest shit ever. That we want to end motherfuckers' careers because they did something we personally didn't like. It's literally pouting. That's all it is. It's pouting. And people like to say that you're like supporting someone if you're not completely against it. Let's not even talk about the president. Let's just talk about life. This is a lot like some girl who doesn't like this other girl, and they're like, why did you walk to French class with her? You know she didn't invite me to her sleepover. I can't believe you would do that. Canceled. Bitches out here canceling people. It's a weird world. This is what I do. I literally have these thoughts on my own where I just sit here and I'm just like, I can't believe we act like this. I can't believe we do this shit. I can't believe we care so much about other people, like their lives and little things that they do and who they talk to and who they don't talk to. Out here canceling motherfuckers. I already been canceled. This ain't my first rodeo. Instagram canceled me for bullying vegans. And I love vegans. I am part vegan. You guys forget that. I'm just a meat eater who's also a vegan. I'm keto and all the other stuff as well. I don't give a shit. I eat it all except gluten. Except gluten. All right, ladies and gentlemen. I think we're going to end it on that note. I got to go get ready for my set. I got to leave here in like 10 minutes. Gonna be late. Nah, I'll still make it. It's not too far away. I'm doing comedy in a comic book store tonight. Shout out to Jesse Campos for adding me to his show. But I'll do comedy everywhere. Anywhere. I don't give a shit. Except at parties. I feel like my ideal place to do comedy, obviously, comedy club. Best place for it. A theater. Best place for comedy. I've even done it in a movie theater. That was a wild experience. But I'll do comedy anywhere just to try it. Just to experience it. The worst place The worst place that I've done comedy, bars. Bars. But really, bars. Because there's people who are there that also just want to drink and talk to their friends. And that gets weird when people are talking, people can't hear. I always hated that. People aren't paying attention. I would go to some open mics and they would start an open mic and people in the place wouldn't know there was about to be an open mic, and I would just like to watch people's faces as I would see them realizing what's about to happen. And they just start eating faster. They're like, we need to get the fuck out of here. It's as if there's vampires around and the sun's going down. They're like, we need to get back to safety because some weird shenanigans are about to go down. It's not safe here anymore. But I think the only place I wouldn't want to do comedy would be a party. I've heard stories of it just being terrible. It never goes the way you think it might. Be like, it'd be kind of cool if everybody sat down and, you know, you could just kind of do it for them in the living room. I hear it never goes well. And I hear corporate events. You got to be a certain type of comedy. I'd like to do that. I'm trying to break into the college market right now. Bars, you know. We'll see how that goes. And I'll see you guys. I'm going to start putting these out every Tuesday and Thursday morning. They'll be available on iTunes, Spotify, all streaming platforms. And I'm sure none of you guys are really watching these, but I still put them on YouTube. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, opinions, feel free to hit me up. And remember, no matter what, at the end of the day, I still love you.